Hey everybody, welcome to WTF Hammer Underworlds. Today is going to be my second to last warband balancing video in this format for Season 3. This time looking at Morgok's Krushas, who I just reviewed and the link to which you can find in the description, and I basically came to the following conclusions about this warband. First of all, that these guys are very tough, 5 wounds each, unheard of. They also have power cards that heal themselves and prevent damage. These guys are incredibly burly. They do, however, have subpar objective cards, which is unfortunate, meaning that they rely on universal objective cards, as well as killing enemy units in order to rake in glory points, which can result in them being a little bit streaky depending on the meta that they're in at any given time. They also have a sort of difficult inspiring mechanic that requires that they make attacks, which make them predictable. But unfortunately, they do have power cards that help them gain WA tokens, which can help them to inspire. But finally, and most importantly, I'd say that these guys really are killers. They have high base damage output. They have ways to increase that damage. They have amazing ploys for that. They have push mechanics to help them reach enemies. No enemy is really safe depending on the cards that you draw and how much you've devoted this warband to the control aspect of the game. So overall, I decided to rate this warband as an A. So for this balancing video, I'm just going to recommend minor tweaks because they're really within the range that I have been trying to balance warbands around. And as I always do, I'm going to be recommending some errata suggestions as well as new faction-specific cards that could be introduced for this warband. Starting with the errata, I recommend some objective card errata, specifically that Avalanche of Aggression be worth 2 glory points instead of 1. So Avalanche of Aggression, just refresh your memory, is a score in the end phase card if there are more surviving fighters than enemy fighters out of action. Not a guarantee to pull this thing off, especially since you only have 3 units. If you're fighting a horde warband, it becomes almost impossible to pull off. And although your guys are tough, it's not impossible for them to be taken out of action, which makes it even harder for this to get scored. So my justification here is that it's hard to pull off in general, especially against a horde warband, so therefore it's worth more than 1 glory. And that's actually my only suggestion for objective card errata, so nothing major, just 2 glory for Avalanche of Aggression. More interestingly, though, I have some recommendations for new faction-specific cards, which basically follow the template as follows. That in order to have a valid deck, warbands need to have 12 objective cards and 20 or more power cards, with basically a 50-50 split of Gambit and upgrades. And Morgok's Krushas have this, like all Season 3 warbands. However, other warbands that I have balanced always finished off with 11 Gambits and 11 upgrades. So for that reason, I'd recommend these guys get 1 new Gambit and 1 new upgrade card to provide the necessary tweak. Mostly just provide some useful options while being lore relevant. So my first idea would be a card just to complement the aggressive playstyle, because that's always fun, and that's obviously these guys' bread and butter. So I'd recommend a faction-specific Overkill, which could be called Full Swing, which is a universal Beastgrave card that basically acts like No Remorse, but it's sort of a one-shot deal on a ploy. So you play this after a friendly fighter's attack action that took an enemy fighter out of action. If the attack action dealt more damage than was necessary to take the target out of action, you gain a spent glory point. So nothing too overpowering, but does allow them to get a little bit of extra glory, albeit spent glory. Justification is that this warband does not have great objective cards, so this could help them get a bit more glory. And finally, for upgrade card, just a card to facilitate getting WA, specifically WA counters. So I don't know if this is the best idea for that, but I thought this was interesting. A faction-specific quick learner called It Hurts Good. So just to read this card, it's basically a reaction card from Night Vault, in which after an enemy fighter's attack action or another warband's Gambit that damages this fighter but does not take them out of action, you draw a power card. So you can equip this on any one of your guys, and since they're all tough, it's pretty likely at some point they're going to take damage that won't take them out of action, which would allow you to draw a power card, thus allowing this warband's natural toughness to help them to draw power cards, which could be cards that help them to accumulate WA counters, or just cards in general. It just becomes a useful dynamic that these guys could have that other warbands would not have access to. And that basically does it for my suggestions. So errata summarized above. New faction-specific cards, I just recommend a new Gambit card to match other warbands that I've balanced, a faction-specific Overkill called Full Swing, and a new upgrade card, also to match other warbands, a faction-specific Quick Learner called It Hurts Good. So if you enjoyed the video, if you have any thoughts or suggestions, please comment below. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy this content, and next week I'm going to be looking into the final warband of Beastgrave, Morgok's Blade Coven. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.